Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, can the Clippers bounce back against the Phoenix Suns tonight, basically? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Premium platform that we're launching next week, which features exclusive content that you can get nowhere else. We're gonna have that up next week, and also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro.com, which we're also gonna be publishing at the end of this month. So be on the lookout for that. I've been just producing a lot of content here today, so my mind sometimes turns into like mashed potatoes or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm here for you guys, and let's get it going. So let me get into the topic here today. Now, I think this is going to be one of those interesting matchups, given the fact of how the Phoenix Suns have been playing this season. The Phoenix Suns, it looks like to me that, they're going to be legitimate this year. Now, granted, they've only played about 5 or 6 games, but if you remember in the Orlando bubble, the Phoenix Suns won all 8 of those games, if I'm not mistaken, the Orlando bubble. They were fantastic in the Orlando bubble, and they surprised a lot of people. I think they played so well to the point where they brought their head coach, Monty Williams, to tears, because he was just so proud of how much those guys competed in the bubble. They went out there and they they fought and they tried to get into the playoffs. They didn't. But what I think he respected about those guys was their fight, and he saw something in them. And now it looks like there's going to be there's a carryover, and this team looks to be pretty serious, and they have a pretty good roster, which I'm going to get to right now. If you think about the addition of Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul is one of the greatest players of all time, certainly one of the greatest point guards in the history of basketball, standing at 6'1". If we look at his numbers this season, Chris Paul is doing what Chris Paul does. He's averaging 13 points per game, 4 rebounds a game, and 8.7 assists, right? Those are Chris Paul type numbers. He's not shooting that well from the field so far. He's only shooting 40% from the field and 33% from the three-point line, but I don't think they brought Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns to be a scorer, although he can do that at a very high level and at a very efficient level when he decides to, because Chris Paul is a fantastic player and jump shooter and all of this, and he has every trick in his bag. Chris Paul, for the free throw line this season, is shooting 95% from the free throw line. That's Chris Paul for you, and he's almost getting you one steal per game. One steal per game. But I think they brought Chris Paul to that team for his leadership, right? For his leadership and his ability to run the offense and teach guys, right? Once you have Chris Paul as your starting point guard, you're going to be hard pressed to find another player playing that position in the entire NBA that is better at that job than Chris Paul. You're going to be hard pressed to find another basketball player at that position that is better than Chris Paul. You're going to be hard pressed to name 5 players that played that position that are better than Chris Paul, if we're talking about a point guard. So the Phoenix Suns had a major upgrade, not just as in the point guard position, but their overall basketball IQ as a team. You add Chris Paul to your team, you just got a lot smarter, and he's definitely going to help Devin Booker as a player on and off the court, but especially on the court, be able to score a lot easier. Now, another player that we need to look at is DeAndre Ayton. Okay, DeAndre Ayton is a center for the Phoenix Suns, and if I look at his numbers here, he ain't no joke, man. DeAndre Ayton this season is averaging 12 points per game, 11.2 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. But last season, the dude averaged in 38 games played, he averaged 18.2 points per game. He shot 54.5% from the field. He shot 75% from the free throw line. He got you 11.5 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and 1.5 blocks. Okay, this season, the guy is shooting 55% from the field, 64% from the free throw line, which isn't really good, which is amazing, but he's getting you 11.2 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1.3 blocks. So DeAndre Ayton is a force in the paint. I mean, these ain't fluky numbers. These are really good numbers at the center position, which is something that the Clippers are going to have to contend with. And then if you look at Devin Booker, who's averaging 20 points per game, getting you 4 rebounds a game and 3.8 assists. Now his assist numbers have gone down. If you look at his assist totals in the past, he used to average over 6 assists per game. But given the addition of Chris Paul, I think a lot of those ball handler responsibilities are going to be taken out of his hand. This season, he's shooting 49% from the field, which is very efficient. 34% from the 3-point line. His free throw shooting percentage is a little bit low, but it's early in the season, and players are going to get their averages up as the season goes on. Right? He's shooting 68% from the free throw line, but he's also getting you 1.2 steals per game. So that's Devin Booker. And just to kind of further illustrate my point about the numbers changing this season. For example, Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers is averaging 23.8 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. I expect his scoring numbers to go higher. It's just that it's early in the season. Kawhi Leonard is not going to finish the season averaging 24 points per game, but because it's early in the season, these averages are going to change as the as the season progresses. Now, I think the Phoenix Suns are tied for the number 1 record in the Western Conference, if I'm not mistaken. If I look at them here, no, actually they are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. They have a 5-1 record right now, so they have the best record in the Western Conference. So the Clippers are going to be playing from behind if we're talking about it from a standings position, right? They're going to go play against the number 1 seed, and they've played They played 6 games. Now, as I said before, it's early. But nevertheless, they have the number 1 seed. Now, if we look at the Clippers, on the other hand, the Clippers have had some very impressive wins this season. I think all of the teams that they set out to beat this season and make a statement, they've beaten those teams. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Blazers. They beat the Nuggets. These are some serious playoff teams, right? But they've dropped games to teams that I think they just played down to. For instance, if you look at the Dallas Mavericks, they lost by 50 points, which was just totally inexcusable. They beat them in the playoffs. They should be able to beat them this year, right? They weren't even playing with Kristaps Porzingis, so the Clippers had no real excuse to lose to the Dallas Mavericks. That's one example. And then I think 2 nights ago, they lost to the Utah Jazz. Now, you got to give the Utah Jazz credit. The Utah Jazz came out there and they were playing a good game. And I think some of the offensive sets that the Utah Jazz were running, I just think it took the Clippers some time to kind of understand what they were doing. Another thing about that game, and I'm not going to come down too hard on the Clippers, was that they missed a lot of makeable shots in that game. Like a lot of makeable shots in that game. If they had hit a third of those shots that they missed, they would have probably won that game, right? Because they had so many easy looks at the basket that they just missed. Like they just missed. A lot of times they were just open shots. They would just rim out. Like they would ricochet off the rim and just go right out. So they didn't have a good shooting night. And for them to kind of bring that game kind of close in the end and only lose by 6 points, it showed that they were, that they wanted to fight back. Like they didn't want to just get blown out and lose by 20 points, right? So they showed a lot of grit in that game. Although they could have won, but they missed a lot of shots, right? But the Clippers have been on this kind of thing where they only get up to play certain teams. And I would like to see them be a little bit more consistent. Hopefully, given the fact that the Phoenix Suns are a number 1 seed in the Western Conference, I hope that they take the Phoenix Suns seriously and they don't just look at them like, please, man, these guys are not the Lakers. These guys aren't the Nuggets, so nobody's taking them seriously. Hopefully, they don't go into the game with that type of attitude. And they're not too relaxed and, flat-footed in the first quarter or second quarter, whatever it is. Hopefully, they play that game with the same intensity that they would play the Lakers, Nuggets, or Blazers, whoever it is. Another thing I'm going to be looking at is the Paul George and Devin Booker matchup. I think it's an intriguing matchup. I think these stars are going to match up pretty well, given the fact that Devin Booker is going to be coming off the ball a lot more because Chris Paul is going to have the ball handling responsibilities. I think Paul George needs to try to win this matchup with Devin Booker. Kawhi Leonard is the odd man out. There's no one on that team that's going to guard Kawhi Leonard, so I expect Kawhi Leonard to pretty much have his way with the team. And just if he has a good game, if he has a good shooting game, I think he's going to be the odd man out, kind of like AD. Right, whenever you see the Clippers and the Lakers match up, AD is the one guy that's just like no one really can guard, nobody can really check. So I expect Kawhi Leonard to be the same in this game. If I'm going to make my prediction, I predict that the Clippers win. But I don't predict by a wide margin. I don't usually do point differentials. I'm not like they're going to win by 7 or 10. I don't know how people do that. Some people get it right, some people get it wrong. But I don't work for Vegas, so I don't need to do that type of prediction. But I think that the Clippers should win the game, right? If they come out serious and they come out focused and they play an entire game, they should win the game. So for me, I'm going to pick the Clippers. So what I want to know from you guys is, who do you think is going to win the game? Do you think it's going to be the Clippers or the Phoenix Suns? Whoever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have linked at the end of this video here. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.